The National Park Service is warning you not to push your slower friend down when running from bears. I think that is solid advice. That's good advice for reasonable people. Hey, we know you're running from the bears in the national park. Don't push your friends down. Don't push that slower friend. Actually, you don't even need to push them down. You just need to be just a step or two ahead of them. And yeah. National Park Service has an important message for those who encounter a bear in the wild. Don't push a slower friend down when running away, even if the friendship is nearing the end of its life. I've covered some pretty horrific topics here in the last few weeks. In the last week, this is not one of those. I'm going to talk about some of my bear experiences, but words to live by. Don't push a slower friend down if you're running away from a bear. We're going to get into black bear versus brown bear. You know, bears are coming out of hibernation this time. Well, not in California where they've got that huge snowstorm, but bears are coming out of hibernation. People are getting ready to go hiking in different parts of the country. We need to bone up on our bear advice. Let's get into it. All right. So this podcast came from a tweet. If you come across a bear, never push a slower friend down, even if you feel the friendship has run its course. I think that is some solid wisdom. That's solid wisdom. What about your other friends? Seeing a bear in the wild is a special treat for any visitor to a national park. While it's an exciting moment, it is important to remember that bears in national parks are wild and can be dangerous. Well, they are bears, right? This is not Yogi Bear, is it? How about Cocaine Bear? I want to see that movie. I need to see that movie just because, I mean, who doesn't want to see a bear get into some coke and then just go ham, right? I mean, that sounds like some light-hearted entertainment, doesn't it? I know that movie got released just recently. Cocaine Bear. I have had 3 different encounters with bear in the wilderness, all on mountains, one on a big mountain. My first bear encounter, major bear encounter, was down climbing Mount Whitney, which is down in Lone Pine, California. Think Death Valley. So you go from the lowest point in the continental United States to the highest point. I was there to climb it. So before you get a permit or before you can officially climb Mount Whitney, you have to get a bear-proof container to hold your food. It's one of the things you got to do to get this climbing permit. And you get it from the park ranger down in Lone Pine. Go get your bear container. And you're like, okay, why do we have to do that? Well, there's so many bears up at the camp that you take off from, where you camp and you go up there, park, get all your gear together, squared away. Got to have a bear container. Well, and then you put the bear container in these big metal like lockers on your campsite because there's so many bears. Found out after our incident that, bears can literally take their fingernails and open up your car. They can open up your window. We didn't have an issue with that, but late at night on our first night on the mountain, my friend Jason and I, childhood friend, and we're in one tent, and his brother and another friend were in another tent. We're very close by. We're both in our tents, and we hear something outside. And my buddy Jason, he calls out to the other tent. He goes, "Is that you guys out there?" Like, no. And so we got real still in our tent because there's a lot of bears around. There's a lot of bears. It's dark. It's probably, 8, 9 o'clock at night, maybe later. We're hearing this loud rustling outside. We hear a clank on our locker, which wasn't good because that meant it was open. So we just kind of hunkered down and didn't really do a lot of exploring. That went on for just a minute or two. It's like, we knew there was something out there. We didn't know what it was. We didn't want to go out there and find out. Well, next morning we get out and my buddy Jason, he's like, my pack is gone. His backpack with all his gear, all of his stuff in it, which was just outside of our tents. You don't have, your pack inside your tent. Cause we're sleeping in backpacking tents, small, light, compact. And so his pack is gone. That's not a good thing because we need to go climb a mountain. That's what we woke up that morning for. So we search around. We find his pack. Bear had slit it open with a fingernail, had just sliced it open and taken the food. So he had some good smelling food in that backpack. So yeah, we patched his pack up, climbed Mount Whitney, epic climb, did the wrong route, did the mountaineers route, not the easy walk up route. We left our ice axes behind because it was supposed to just be, super, you're climbing a big mountain, but weren't supposed to have an ice axe because there's kind of this rugged trail to the top. But yeah, we climbed the wrong route without ice picks and, protection and belay system and all that, but it worked out. I'm here to talk about it. My second bear incident was on Mount Rainier. I just summited Mount Rainier with my friend Gavin, who now lives in Australia. We came down. We're like the only people in the parking lot. We did a little celebration afterwards in the parking lot, as you do. And we're driving out my big truck, I think we took my big Ford truck, my F-350 4x4 extended cab. We're leaving and we see this bear kind of on the hillside. And so we drove by this black bear, mid-sized black bear, got a bunch of footage with my old school cell phone camera. And it's like, dude, that is a bear right there. Pacific Northwest Mount Rainier. You see a lot of bears. Third experience, that was a trippy experience. It's like we're driving and a bear is running alongside of us right there. Third experience was with my dad. We had just climbed Granite Mountain, which is a good sized mountain. I don't know, 5,000 feet. And we're driving in the car down, same deal. Small, like a baby black bear starts running alongside of us. It's like, bear. So you'll see that because they chase out, they're going through the woods and they'll cut across, roads and stuff that are cut into the mountains. And so, this bear was running down, then all of a sudden didn't run into our car, but we were there. So it keeps running. Wild stuff. Bears are big, bears are scary. And you don't want to push your friend down though, because your friend's probably going to become, let's say, bear food. National Public Service who was this? NPS, National Park Service, gave the cheeky advice Tuesday in a series of tweets saying, if not friend, why friend shaped? What about your other friend? So as the snow begins to melt and temperatures rise, bears become more active. The National Park Service has some tips that can help you ward off a potentially lethal bear situation. Number one, identify yourself by talking calmly so the bear knows you aren't prey. I don't know about you. If I see a bear like fairly close, I don't know that I'm going to remember to talk calmly. That's probably not going to be in my vocabulary. It's going to be like, whoever else is there with me, I'm going to say, let's go. We got to get out of here. What are we going to do? Number two, remain still and stand your ground, but slowly wave your arms. I don't think I'm going to remember that either. Slowly raise your arms, okay? Stay calm. Remember that most bears do not want to attack. They just want to be left alone. Well, if a bear is coming at you, maybe they smell your food, they want your food. Are you going to remember? Oh yeah, you know what? They're not going to attack. I think we're going to be all good here. This is going to be fine. It's going to work out good. So I'm just going to remain calm. Just going to, push down those feelings and remain calm. And we're just going to work this out. I mean, I might become bear food, but no, I'm going to be running, right? I'm probably going to be running. Don't climb a tree, I think, is another one, because believe it or not, bears are really good at climbing trees. If you do find yourself in a sticky situation, there are different ways to handle different species. National Park Service says if the attacker is a brown or grizzly bear, play dead. Okay. All right. Lay flat on your stomach with hands behind your neck and spread your legs so it's harder for the animal to turn you over. Ladies, I don't know about you, but if I'm being attacked by a grizzly or a brown bear, the last thing I'm going to do is spread my legs. I'm not going to lie. I can tell you that right now. We're not doing that. All right. Just grab it, whatever you want. It's all good. Yeah. Yeah, just let me live. This is probably good advice, but is it reasonable? I don't think so. But we're going to talk about it anyway, because, if you're stranded on the mountain and a bear attacks you, stay still until the bear leaves the area. But if you have to fight back, use whatever you have on hand to hit it in the face. All right, man versus bear. How do you think that's going to work out? Not good. Not good. I don't care if it's a black bear, a brown bear, or a grizzly bear. It's not going to work out well. I think it's you do whatever you got to do to stay alive. Spreading your legs, probably solid advice, but yeah. Oh yeah. What was it that I saw on Sean's podcast? Oh, he said, lie down, put your hands behind your head, spread eagle, and hope for the best. Okay. When it comes to black bears, do not play dead. Okay, now we've got a matrix of stuff. Maybe you should write all this down in a matrix and go, all right, I'm being attacked by a bear. Is it a black bear or a grizzly or a brown bear? Okay. If it comes to black bears, do not play dead. Escape to a nearby car or building if you can. Now, the three scenarios I just described to you were all on mountains. And that's typically where you see a bear. You're going to see some bears in, some suburban areas that are at like the base of mountains typically, because that's where bears come down, get food, especially during winter. They've woken up and they're hungry, yet they want a pizza. They're going to do whatever they can. So when it comes to black bears, do not play dead. Escape to a nearby car or building if you can. That sounds like solid advice. I mean, that sounds like advice that, the mom and son took heed of during the movie Cujo. I don't know if you saw that Stephen King novel. Stephen King is an idiot, but he has written some good books. Complete moron. If not, fight back and complete your blows on the bear's face and muzzle. All right. So I'm going to spread my legs, arms behind the head. But if that doesn't work out, fight back, concentrate your blows on the bear's face and muzzle as you're being mauled. All right. I didn't say this was easy advice. I said this was probably good advice. And this is the official advice. Yeah. Each bear and each experience is unique. There is no single strategy that will work in all situations and that guarantees safety. National Park Service says on its website, most bear encounters end without injury. That's good to know. But, if you're having to follow some of this advice, you are already in for the fight of your life. Following some basic guidelines may help to lessen the threat of danger. Your safety can depend on your ability to calm the bear. I don't know about you, but I don't know that I'm going to reach back into my wisdom podcasting and sharing this information with you and come up with anything from my brain that's going to really help me out. I think I am just going to run like a mofo, right? And probably get clobbered and, attacked and eaten. I don't know. But I mean, doesn't that seem more reasonable than, all right, on the ground, legs spread, hands behind the head, fighting the bear, depending on which bear it is. Act strong, act tough, calm words, calm the bear down. So many things here, so much to consider. The flip side is you could just stay in your house with the door locked and be frightened that, the world might get you. That's not true either. I think most bears they're afraid. When my friend and I were in our tent on Mount Whitney, I gotta admit, it was a little spooky hearing that out there. Like, guys, is that you? To our friends in the other tent. No, just silence after that. It's like, okay, well then who is it? Is it one of our fellow campers? And there was hardly anybody there. We were there early in the season. It was an early season hike, early season climb, epic climb. But there are a lot of bears on Mount Whitney, which made it just that much more fun. Bears are, vast majority of encounters with bears go well, but if they don't, be calm. I don't know. Follow the matrix of stuff. Yeah. I hope you don't run into a bear. But if you do, I hope you run into a bear in the wilderness, in your car, driving down from an epic climb. That's all there is. Thanks for being here on this one. We'll catch up in the next one. Bye for now.